Friends, it's Deanna Wilson with our Blooming Catholic Life, and we're here today to do the next step in our shawl cowl project. If you've already seen the first one, this is a simple center rib scarf that we're working, a triangle scarf. It just increases. It does 3 knit stitches, make one right, knit across, make one right, slip marker, knit one, slip marker, make one left, go over to the end, make one left, slip marker, knit 3. Now we're going to do something new. We're going to need a different marker probably. And so I have my markers out. I also have, this is an old one. It's an interchangeable set, the Paris set. What I'm going to do is I need size 8s. That's what we've been working on. So I happen to have the size 8s in the interchangeables. And I had a really nice long cord. Remember, this is getting really crowded on this circular needle, so we were going to go ahead and switch. I have this lovely really long cord here. Oh no, it's red. I've obviously never opened it. I'm like, I'm having trouble figuring it out. There we go. Okay, so these are easy peasy. You can see it's like a little screw end there, the male end, the female end, and you just twist these on. For the most part, you'll see in a minute, there's one extra thing you do, but we're going to go ahead and just twist these on. Again, this is the Knitter's Pride Paris collection. You can see not all of them are here. That's why interchangeables are dangerous for me. You know, I'm always losing things. See here, whatever needle I use tends to, or hooks tends to stay with the project, and so if I don't finish the project, it's still with the project. Okay, I'm having a lot of trouble opening things tonight. There we go. I need this little tool in here, this little guy. This pin goes in. Can you see this hole in here? This pin goes in there, and it helps me to make sure, gives me a little leverage to make sure that's really twisted on there. You want it on nice and tight. You don't want your needles coming off of your cord in the middle of your knitting. So find that. Goodness, it's a little silly to do while I'm filming. Okay, feels like that's in really tight. That's also how we undo them. And if I need caps, like if I was going to store this project for a while, this is what I could do, is unscrew the cord with the project still on, put this little end cap on, and then I can still use the needles with a different cord on another project. That is the way you're supposed to do it, but I'm very bad. Okay, putting that away. We're gonna go ahead and pick up our triangle knit shawl. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna fold it. This is what the directions say. Now they're gonna switch patterns here. I'm not gonna switch pattern. I'm gonna keep doing this same increase pattern that I had before. But this is how we're going to get it to going around. We folded it right side together, so knit side in, and we're going to knit with a 3 needle bind off these 3 knit stitches here together. Remember, it was garter stitch on the edge, stockinette the rest of the piece. So I hope you can see this. I'm going to go in here, right? And I'm basically going to knit these 2 together. It's a little tricky because each of these are 2 strings held together, so I want to make sure I get this correct. It's a little tricky. Slip them off. Okay, and then I'm going to be binding off, but not just yet, because I need another stitch to bind off, right? So I'm going to get this one, this one, slip it all off, and now I'm going to go ahead and have too many here. Oh no. Okay, no problem. We're gonna slip these all back on. This one's gonna go back on here. This one's gonna go back on here. Pop that out. How did we end up? One of these did not pull through from our first one, so it's okay. I'm gonna just pull that stitch out. Don't panic when you make a mistake, friends. There's no need to panic. Okay, so we can see that one came undone. Again, we're going to go ahead and fix it. This one's completely intact. Problem is this was with our working yarn. You can see it came undone, so I'm just going to flip it back over here. No problem. Only one stitch came out. I'm going to put it back on. See? Put it on this one. I'm going to go ahead and knit this back like it should be knitted. Okay. I'm going to try that again. Again, it is tricky. It's okay. Don't hold your breath. Don't freak out. We've got time. We can do this together. We're going to slip in here and slip in here. And then we're going to pull through this one, pull through this one. Just have two now. Okay, I'm going to pop these two off. Now I'm going to slip through this one, slip through this one, back, back. Okay, slip these two off. Now I'm going to come, and this guy's going to go over here. Okay, and now I'm going to slip here, slip in here, 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 slip these both off. Okay, now I've got these markers here. I don't need them anymore, do I? I don't. Okay, well, then I guess we're just doing a purl row here, and we'll go around. So where do I want this? Do I still want to use the green ones? Yeah, I kind of like having the green ones there. I'm going to slip them on over here, or I could have put them on the other end of our cord here, but this is kind of dangly right now, so I don't want to have it on there. As well as this is kind of loose. What am I going to do? I'm afraid of that coming off. So in this little case, I also have an end stop. Do you see that? So I'm going to go ahead and put this on here to make sure they aren't slipping off while I'm finishing this one. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and slip the whole thing off. I wonder why it had us slip it to the inside to do this. I feel like that's what it wanted me to do. The thing is, I really want to be knitting this. I'm going to flip it. I'm going to flip it. I'm going to be bold and flip this. Why? Because now we're knitting in the round, right? Correct? I mean, correct. Now we're knitting in the round. And I really want to be knitting in the round. Not, so that made a little funkiness there. I'm going to go back and take this out. That's what I'm going to do. Again, don't panic when you do something a little funky. You'll see what I'm up to. So these were our last two. I forgot to bind that last one off anyway. Ding dong. You can see what I was meant to do. I was meant to do this. Okay. So now we're back good. I'm actually going to flip this around. I want to be knitting this in the round, not purling in the round. If you want to purl in the round, do the right sides together and do it that way. I'm going to just go ahead and slip my markers over, and yes, and I want to start putting it on the new, see, I'm doing two things at once. I'm also putting it on the new cord. And so here I go on the new cord. So that's a little thicker than I'd like, but it's pretty good. It's nice and solidly together. That's what I like about doing the bind off. That way you can do it together a different way if you want, but that's going to make that nice and thick and solid. And we're just going to go ahead and knit our way around. We can still do increases at the ends if we want. We're definitely going to do it on either side of the center rib. And so we're just going to keep going. So the first one we do, right, is a make one right. That's back to front and knit in the front. It'll take us a hot minute to get over there. How many stitches do we have now? And you can just make this as long as you want. The nice thing about putting this on a super long cord right now is I'll be able to try it on. When it's on a cord all bunched up, you can't really pull it over your head and try it on around your neck, can you? No, you can't. You can't stretch it out. So if you don't have a super long cord that's longer than you need, and you really want to try something on, a trick you can do is to slip it onto a really long piece of yarn and take the needle off. You'll take the needle out completely, just leave it on your really long piece of yarn, which is going to effectively act like a cord, right? You're just going to want to make sure you can even tie a knot at the really end of your really long piece of yarn that goes the whole way through, and then you can try it on, whatever you need to do. The trick is just to be really careful because you're gonna have to put it back on the needles, right? And you'll just like sew it, like pick it up like this, you know, and do however many you need to as in a row. All good. It's all good. You can do this. I know it's stressful, especially the first time you do it, but I'll be honest, it's stressful every time you do it, friends. That's why we tend to knit with friends or knit at lunch with friends. Go out for lunch or breakfast with friends, especially when you're going to do something scary. Whenever friends had to do one of those projects that you rip down, oh my goodness, it's always so scary. It's a kind of lace work where at some point you drop a stitch and you're dropping an entire row, and it's like the scariest thing in the world to do. A lot of times, I'll admit, people would bring a bottle of wine to do that. I don't drink. But I'll have a nice piece of chocolate before I start. That's fine too. And if you find your shoulders rising up tighter and tighter, push them down a minute and then take some time. Make your stitches a little looser, loosen your grip. You may have to stop, do some forward shoulder rolls. Stop, stretch your hands out. If you find yourself getting tense in your shoulders and other places, raise your shoulders, do shoulder rolls, stretch out your hands. Don't let yourself get so anxious and tight that you're cramping up and you're getting anxious. The whole point of knitting, right, is, well, okay, it's also to make things, but very much of it is to relax. And so if you find yourself getting tight and all cramped up, your knitting's going to reflect it. For one thing, your knitting's going to get tighter and tighter and tighter. You're going to start doing what we call working. A lot of people start working on the tips. Well, you're not going to get gauge. It's going to be super tight and hard to get on your needles back here because this is wider than the pointy part, right? You don't want to end up doing that. That's called knitting on the tips, TIPS. You don't want to do that. You want to have a decently loose gauge and you want to be relaxed, okay? So here's our back to the front, knit in the front. Okay, did that cleanly. Yay. Yay, right? Slip the marker. Go ahead and knit. This is our center rib, so we're halfway done this round. Slip the marker again. Now this is the opposite. This is the make one left. Front to back. And now we're going to knit in the back. Now when we do that knit in the back, make sure you're not up here on the slanty part of the tip. Nope, you want to be back here on the actual shaft of the knitting needle, or that's going to help you get your gauge. Otherwise, you're not even going to properly see that center rib. It's not going to show up right. It's going to be too tight. You don't want anything too tight or too loose. You want it just right, just like with everything else in life. Nice and relaxed, go along, and we're just going to keep knitting in a circle. Are we going to do our increases when we come to the joining part? Yeah, we were doing 4 all along, so we probably want to go ahead and do an increase. But you know what? You have this on our nice big cable now. You can try it out. Do you want to keep increasing 4 stitches every 2 rows? Or do you only want to increase 2 stitches every 2 rows? You know, that's up to you because it's no longer making a perfect triangle. Now it's in the round. It can be a little bit different. Maybe you want it really bulky at this point. I don't know. It's going to go around your neck and it's going to have to be under your coat, right? So how do you want it? You can see, ooh, we're loosening up on this. I'm going to pull this through a little bit more. Nice, right? Now it's not as wonky. It was getting caught up in that cord because remember, we had it jammed on there before. It's nice when you're working, you don't want a really long cord from the beginning because then you've got all this extra flippy, flappy stuff getting in your way. I've heard of people accidentally knitting the extra cord into their project. That's a hot mess. You don't want to do that. So just go with the length you have. That is one of the benefits of the interchangeables, is if you're just changing cords, you wouldn't have to do that, friends. You could just change the length of the cord that's on the needle you're working on. Easy peasy. You know, you could just have it stick it out of the end a little bit here, change the cord, right? Nice. Nice, nice, nice. So you can do that as you go along, nice and easy peasy. And look, it takes some time to appreciate the different color changes. That's one of the things I love about this. It has a very natural dyed yarn, the purple, very earthy tones, lovely, some light variations in there, as well as we have our little firefly from the copper corgi thread mixed in here, right? And that's such a delightful thread. It does make me think of fireflies. So I can stop and think about those. I can stop and think about fireflies. I'm just knitting. I'm not doing a complicated stitch. I'm not sitting here doing trigonometry or calculus. This is an easy pattern. It's a rhythmic thing to do. You could have some music playing, like I say, chatting with friends. This is a good one that's fun to do with friends because you don't have to super duper pay attention. Even if I missed one of these, occasionally, you know, I've missed one of the loops, it's easy to fix on the next row. I can see my little firefly's not there when I come to it. Don't think I've ever dropped the purple, but I have dropped the firefly a couple times. And I just get a crochet hook and I pull it up and I redo that stitch. Easy peasy, no problem. You can do it. I can show you one, see if this had fallen off. Oh no, like why is it so long there? Oh, because I dropped a stitch. Now it's easier to do with a crochet hook. I don't have any right here. So I'm just gonna stick this through. Look, see, I got it back, put it back on, and go ahead and knit it. It doesn't matter which way I put it on. If it was on this way, I can see it's different than the one next to it. No good. We want it to lay the same way. Would it be a big deal? No, this is a look at all the stitches in this. It's not going to make a difference, just that one little one. If it's on wrong, if it's the yarn's twisted funny, it's not going to be that big deal. Here we are, friends. We're at our beginning. So we could even make this our center one here, right here. If we wanted to do an increase, this would be the time to do it, right? So we could do front to back and knit in the back. Go ahead and knit this one. Now we're all the way to the front. Look, here are our extra guys. Take that off. It was held on by our stopper end. Stopper ends are great to put if you're putting your whole project down your bag. These things are great. They're a soft rubber and they're going to hold onto the place and keep your work from slipping off your needles in your bag. So now if we want to do our increase, look, this is naturally where our increase was before. We have stretched this out. Oh, look, this was the perfect size. There's just a little bit of a kink to this. This is the perfect size for what we need. It's actually a tiny bit long right this minute. So I'm going to grab back here. Just going to randomly grab a spot and pull on it and pull some of this extra through. Give it a place to go. So it's not, see here, it's like kinking and it doesn't want to go. So I'm just going to do that a little bit. So for at the beginning of the row, we did back to front. Oops, pulled up a little extra there. That time I didn't pick up enough. Back to front. See, I've got my sparkle in my plane. And then knit in the front. When you're working with a dark color like this, friends, you want to have good light. You don't want to be doing this in dim light. The dark purple, a dark navy, browns and blacks, they can be hard to see. So you're going to want to be aware of that. And you're just going to do this around until you're happy with it. Honestly, there's probably a count in the pattern of the number of stitches. Remember, they switched to a feather and fan pattern, but because I'm doing this to match a hat that was a cable knit, I want it to be a little bit more plain, and it's going to go around. I'm going to wear it like a cowl, right? I'm going to wear it around my neck, under my coat. I don't really want feather and fan. To me, that's nice and lacy, and it's something pretty for the summer. I'm not doing a summer thing. Could I have tried to do cables on here? I could have, but like it made my brain hurt to think about keeping that pattern going with the increases. It's different in a hat where you do it from the brim up. So you work the pattern even until you get to the point where you want to start decreases or gathering for the top. And so it's easier. There's not all that extra math. But when I'm doing a cowl, which I'm doing from the bottom up, but the up is going to be around my neck, and I'm doing increases. No. I'm not adding cabling to that. It's just not something I'm finding enjoyable at this point in my life. At other points in my life, yeah. And yeah, I loved doing that. And I was around a group of ladies that I could just be like, help. And, they'd step in and do it for me. Now we're a much more social group. Everybody seems to have their own niche. One woman does lace weight yarn or finger yarn, but she's doing beautiful, complicated colorwork sweaters. Somebody else uses knitting and likes to make blankets. Somebody else does crochet. Again, really prefers to make blankets. They can make other things at other times, but we each have our preferences. There's a lady who's the head of our state, I think she's the head of our state crochet guild. Now, she does all kinds of things. You never know what she's going to be doing, but she always has a million things to get done because she is the head of a guild. So she'll help you with a project, but she's not going to step in and take over, right? Not going to happen. Anyway, so I'm just going to keep knitting it in the round. I'm going to put these, oh, see, these do come in like large, medium, and small. So if you're doing like something super bulky and you have like a size 15, this isn't going to fit on, right? As well as they have like some lace weight ones of these that are going to fit on something small. So that's just going to hold it on, not let it come off the needles while I look at it. So there was my join. And can you see that? So my head's just going to go in there, wear it like a little bandana kind of thing. I think it's going to be lovely. I'm probably going to put the bulk in the front, you know, around my, oh, you can't see, around my little vulnerable neck so that the wind doesn't come in my coat there. If you haven't heard the baby parrot attacking the zipper on my coat story, super fun. But my zipper doesn't go the whole way up because of a baby parrot. Fun memory. It was a brand new coat. Don't trust baby parrots. They're just adorable. So it does snap shut, but I always feel self-conscious that there's a breeze, and so I could use this as well. That's going to keep me super warm. I may be able to just go out with just my hat and this scarf on and not a full coat because these are going to be nice and super warm. If it gets too warm, I just pop it off, right? No big deal. But I don't have to worry about it keeping it tied or it coming untied or any of that nonsense or bulk from like a knot in the front or how to keep it fastened. Do I need a shawl pin? Because I've put it together. I've made it like a cowl. I think that was a genius idea. I'm going to link the actual pattern in my description, but this is the way I'm doing it. And I think it's going to be super lovely. As well as my coat is black. Can you imagine this yarn with my black coat? I'm so excited, friends. May God bless you and keep you. May he make his face to shine upon you, be gracious unto you, and may the good Lord bless you. In nomine Patris, Filii, et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. God bless, friends. Bye.